In this video, we're going to go over configuring a Cisco switch with a VLAN. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I have to choose a VLAN ID and a name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the first available VLAN ID. VLAN ID 1 is already taken because it's the default VLAN, and that is VLAN 1. So I'm going to go to the next one, which is VLAN 2. I've got a notepad right up here, which I'm actually going to be taking notes on. So we're going to configure VLAN 2, and I have to give it a name, and we'll just call this demo. So now I've got my documentation taken care of. I can jump over onto the switch and start programming it. Now, to configure a VLAN, it's really simple. Really just what you need to do is configure a name and then configure an interface to be part of that VLAN. So let's jump in there and do that. So first, what I need to do is I need to go into the global configuration mode. So I'm going to get into the global configuration mode. And then I need to get into configuring the VLAN that I want to configure. So in this case right here, it's VLAN 2. So the VLAN and then the VLAN ID. So the VLAN ID is 2. I'm going to hit enter, and then I have to give it a name. So I'm going to call this demo. There you have it. Okay, next what we want to do is we want to get into an interface and configure this VLAN on that interface. So I'm just going to choose a random interface. I'm going to say port 8. So let's get into port 8 here. So I'm going to say interface FA, and then this switch it's 108, and jump into there. And then I need to do two things on this interface. Number one, I need to say that this is an access port. And then number two, assign it to one of the VLANs. So to say this is an access port versus this is a trunk port. A trunk port would have multiple VLANs going across one interface. This is just going to have one VLAN going across it. So to do that, I'm going to type in switch port mode access, hit enter, and then the next command is switch port access VLAN, and then the VLAN number. So once again, I'm setting this as an access port, which means it's just going to have one VLAN tied to it, and then it's going to be VLAN 2. So I'm going to enter that in. Once I've done that, now this VLAN is set up on the switch. So let's cover a few show commands that's going to actually show that it is in fact set up on this switch. Oh, by the way, now what this is FA108 is on a different network than the rest of the interfaces, and we'll actually see this. So I'm going to do a show VLAN is the first one, and we see VLAN 1, and it's the default. And we see all of the interfaces that are associated with it, which is pretty much all of them except for FA108, because that's the default VLAN. So VLAN 2 is the demo, and that's the one we assigned to FA108. So yes, we do in fact have two VLANs now at this point. In fact, we have a few more. These are set up on the Cisco switches by default. So these you'll see on those switches as well. All right. So we have a VLAN, we have it assigned. FA108 is part of a different network. It's like it's a whole different switch, whatever's plugged into FA108. There are a couple other show commands that we'll cover that can help you doing some troubleshooting. One of them is show VLAN brief. It's pretty much the same thing as the last one, except for it just shows you just that first table in it. So that can be handy to narrow things down. I can do a show VLAN summary if I just want a quick little synopsis of how many VLANs I have, which is 6. If I were to count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, in fact, I do have 6, so that all adds up. I can do a show VLAN and either specify the ID of 2 to just take a look at the information associated with VLAN 2, or I could also do that same command, but instead of using the ID, I can use the name, and the name is demo, so it gives us the same information. All right, last one, the last show command that we'll take a look at is show interface, and the interface number, which is FA108, and we want to see the switch port information. So this is going to show us a lot of information about the switch port, and a lot of it has to do with the VLAN that it's on and some VLAN information. In fact, a lot of information that we have not covered, nor will we cover in CCNA. It's a more advanced topic like the private VLAN. But we do see that trunking is off. This is a access mode, and it's assigned to VLAN 2, and it's the demo VLAN. So that all adds up there. All right, now the next question is how do we remove this? Well, what we can do is we can first of all get onto the interface and remove that association with the VLAN. So interface FA 108 is what we want, and we say no switch port access VLAN 2. So now it's not associated with that VLAN 2. We do a no switch port mode access. Once I move the configuration from the switch port, I can remove the VLAN altogether. It's a simple little no VLAN 2, and then it's gone. If I want to show that it's gone, what I can do is I can say show VLAN, and we can see it no longer exists in the table here. VLAN 2 does not exist anymore. And I can also do a show VLAN summary, and we can see that we only have 5 at this point, 5 VLANs. So I've removed that. Now let's give the scenario where I'm wiping the switch. That's where I want to just remove all of the VLANs. And if I just delete the startup config file and then restart the switch, those VLANs will actually pop up again. So in that case right there where I'm wiping the switch altogether and I want to wipe all the VLANs out, then I would use the command delete, and I want to delete a file in the flash drive, and that file is VLAN.dat. And then I would hit that, and then I confirm, and there we have it. Then it deletes that file altogether, then all my VLANs would be gone. So when I'm clearing a switch, that's what I would want to do. So there you have it. There's how you set up a VLAN and assign a port to that VLAN, do some show commands of that VLAN, and then we also talked about removing those VLANs.